I'm just dropping in for a second because I'm thinking I may come back in later today because we have a little bit of a sound the alarm. We have a copycat kind of. It looks like to me it's resembling something like a copycat pattern in which we have this alarm kind of rhetoric. Um, and I said that a few days ago. So this is it's kind of speaking to the same ilk or in the same vein of the rhetorical plot mountain that I referred to when I was talking about Candace Owens and her dead man's switch the other day. So I may bring that back to you later, so we can maybe to play around with that a little bit. It's going to be on this kind of alarm rhetoric. Hi, realize. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. I appreciate it, and hope you're doing well. Is also um, Derek C. Williams here. So now we have a situation, something I want to get into. It's a liner that the feds arrest a suspect in threat to a conservative commentator, Benny Johnson. So, and I said this the other day. I said to myself, and here again, I'm not saying that influencers can't have legitimate threats or concerns of imminent threats. But at the same time, I'm also not going to discount that they have a role to play. And in that role, I'm here to expose the dynamics. I'm here to frame to expose the frame. That's my job. Okay, so it's pretty much it's guidance is more or less is what I'm on about. So I really want to. I mean, this is an interesting piece because here again, it these cultural motifs about the truth tellers, kind of like we protect our own, or the systems in place. The system works when they want it to work. But I really want to get into that. Benny Johnson's name has come up in some other interesting scenarios. So we'll see, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought that would be that, that might be fun to do. We'll run it through the rhetorical plot map X-ray and see what comes out. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Let's see who's here. First, we opened up with realize. Thank you, Derek C. Williams. Charlie Siegler's here. And Freedom's March. Oh, wow. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming in. So, yeah, so I may come back in with that. But, yeah, I just want to kind of want to talk about that one because we have these there's just a lot of intersectional kind of things going on within, dare I say, the conservative types or the conservative ilk right now. I don't know if I want to say that there's like that it's cannibalism or that they're going at each other, but in many ways, at best it's they keep the tension going, right? And that's what I want to kind of expose on many fronts. But I'm just saying, I said it the other day. I said, as soon as Candace kind of kicked this thing off, all that this was published on the 10th. I mean, this came out of the TNA, and so the liner is feds arrest suspect in threat to conservative commentator Benny Johnson. So I just can't. I couldn't let that one go. So yeah, so I think I may want to come back with that one, and maybe we can just kind of run it through and see what we come up with, because the whole just breaking this whole thing down. I mean, I'd kind of call it like kind of a copycat situation, because it's not fully, maybe it's not even fully copycat, but maybe it's part copycat. We gotta it's recycling pieces of the narrative. It's recycling the threat. It's recycling the trust. It's it's recycling the pattern. So it's there it is. But yeah, I may come back with that for you guys later, and I think that'll be kind of fun to deal with. So let me read a couple of comments. Derek C. Williams. Oh, wait. Freedom Smart says, oh, poor conservative victims. Right. Right. Yeah, but like I said, Johnson's name has come up in some other areas. With in relation to you know, the FAR Act, like potentially, have a violation there where it's where these influencers have been, there's like about 14 to 18 influencers allegedly that are, they're unidentified, which I find that to be interesting. As I guess they've taken money from Israel, and well, that's not, like I said, it's a whole nother story, but there it is. It's the same players, it's an intersectionality there. There's some crossing of the hairs going on in that regard. So, but my main thing is to, I wanted to talk about this little bit of a copycat, because I think, to me, Candace kicked it off and it landed in the hands on the 10th. You have this story coming out about the feds arresting this guy from San Diego who sent this letter to Johnson himself. I swear I want to call this guy Goodman, but it's not the right name. That's a musician's name. It's not. But sorry about that, guys. But let me read a couple of comments here. So Derek C. Williams says, sadly, the black men sort of dismissed where Crowder was coming from as it relates to the topic of black fatigue. And then Derek comes back in and he says, if folks were intellectually mature, all Americans could talk, but sadly, too much blood and bad history has literally calloused hearts and minds. Whew. Derek, you're coming in heavy on a Sunday. I like it. I love it. But yeah, so at some point I'm trying to try to come back to that, and like I said, I want to throw it into my rhetorical plot map X-ray and see what we have. And honestly, these are all overlapping situations, because I think in the quest to kind of keep things going, they've got to bring up, there's going to be more people coming out about, more conservative influencers coming out about, I've had this kind of experience. And so, I think it's just kind of it's a pattern, it's a cycle. And I think, Candace kicked it off quite nicely. So, like I said, I'm not trying to be insensitive or whatever, but I'm just saying that it is, they have a role to play. They all have a role to play. And I'm just here to point out those dynamics, and and that's what we'll do. But I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. Let's see, Derek C. Williams says, however, blacks have come to terms. We can't, quote, right, end quote, slavery, no reparations forthcoming, and for our demographic, too much self-defeating behavior. He continues, he says, think about it. Who hurts blacks today, not 1,000 years ago? We all know the answer to that question. Oh, you like these? Well, I get all kinds of, comments about these, but I appreciate it. I mean, they're wood, I'm a fan of wood. I like the smell of wood. Log cabins, you name it, like freshly cut wood. Even, this might be a bit much, but even sawdust, I've always been like, I don't know, what is it, that smell, it's sawdust smells just, so it's earthy and it's clean. Derek C. Williams says, accentuates my facial features. Well, I appreciate it. You guys are very perceptive, very, very perceptive. Thank you very much. I just think, this doesn't really match anything. I just decided to throw on, everybody's got that favorite sweatshirt with the paint on it, with my paint job on it. And, I figure, why not? Today it's kind of a burst of fall air. So I said, whatever. But I'd love to come back and play around with a rhetorical plot map if you guys are interested. And just, I appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Freedom's March. Thank you. So yeah, it's, it's easy. It's a Sunday, and But yeah, I just wanted to bring that back. I'll probably bring back the TNA piece for you guys later today. That's the goal. And yeah, of course, you guys can drop anything in there with anything in there you like. Oh, well, you know what? These, I was kind of thinking I wouldn't wear them because they're so large, but at the same time, I'm thinking that's why I should wear them because they're large. They kind of balance out my head a little bit. So I appreciate it. Derek C. Williams, Charlie Siegler, and Freedom's March. I appreciate you guys so much. So also don't be alarmed with, I'm playing around with some things on the channel. Yeah, I'm playing around with some things on the channel. So if you see some things, it's still Black Spring. It's Black Spring. The specialty is this plot map, the plot mountain X-ray. So the rhetorical plot mountain X-ray. So I will. So we'll just call it the RPM. That's what we'll do. RPMs. You'll get a lot of RPMs from me. I'll probably start doing some RPM kind of shorts. Yeah. So you guys feel free to send me anything you want. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to get back to this. And I don't know. Maybe I can even find a clip or something. I'm not sure. But, we'll run it all through. That's the goal. Okay. All right, guys, there's a lot going on, so who knows what's happening. And shout out to Freedom's March on an excellent live stream. You keep crushing them. They can't hardly stand it. But yeah, great job. All right, guys, go ahead and drop your links. Yeah, I was a little bit late yesterday, Derek C. Williams. I wanted to, let you know that I was a little bit late. And I did get a notification. I do think that YouTube is playing their games, but hey, I'm here to play. On top of that, there are a lot of new things that they're rolling out. I think, there's even a new practice. I'm probably going to do some shorts. I think there's some opportunity there on the short features that they have. It's a practice, it's like a practice before you go on kind of a deal. I'm not something, it's something that there's a ton of features, things you'll be able to collaborate more, I guess, more real-time integrations, with YouTube, but it's almost like about 10 features, like something like 8 to 10 features that they're rolling out before the end of the year. And also, and I feel like I'm a spokesperson for YouTube, but also they're changing the requirements. I think now you only have to have 500 subscribers, and then they've dropped the watch hours down to 3,000. So I'm thinking maybe they're trying to bring people back to YouTube, because I would imagine that they realize that they've lost something. I don't know what, I don't know how. I'm not trying to figure out their logic, but I'm just saying maybe they're trying to bring people back. Let me read your comment. Realize. Hang on. Work my dinosaur here. Work it. Let's see what happened. What happened there? Okay. Yeah, realize I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support and for being here. YouTube, Derek C. Williams says, YouTube renegade card carrying conspiracy theorist and pandemic skeptics. Yes, Derek C. Williams, you're here. We're here for it. Yeah, they have changed. They're changing that. It might be they're gonna get pressed. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I've been pressing them a little bit. Okay, and I'm not gonna say, oh, this is a causation and correlation. Black Spring, no. I'm just saying that I'm gonna ask the questions, whether they want, whether they like the question or not. So it's just, and I have, and I'm not quite done. I've asked for a review of my account. Within a span of a time frame. going back to, shout out to the class of CV19. I've asked for that review. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm just saying, just don't take anything because you didn't give it to me. Whatever I had is what I earned. So don't take anything. So I appreciate you guys so much. But I'm gonna try to get back here in a little bit, and we'll get started on that liner. But for now, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Hang on a second. Derek C. Williams says, so now they're walking everything back. I call my community tab the, quote, the graveyard, end quote, a shrine to the mock. You see? Do you see how our minds, our brains, our patterns can be redone, just how we can adjust to what they want us to do. I'm still self-censoring, It's like, it's like the trauma doesn't end, It was a long period of trauma, and I'm not convinced that it's completely over. That's the part that I'm on about. So he says it's a shrine to the vaccinated that told on themselves. Many are no longer amongst the, well, yeah, that's rough. Derek C. Williams, that's very, very poetic of you. And you're right. You're right. I remember, that was Darius Aces many moons ago. That was many streams ago, that you were, trying to get people to think. But I don't know, maybe they were led by something else. Yeah, I know, Derek, but it's a habit. It took us a long time to realize that that's what we were doing, to avoid so much, we had to. So it's like, to me, it takes time to undo. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time to undo things that are, that undermine what we're trying to do. But I guess that's what we're here for, after all, right? We're all framers. When I think about the word framing, how conservatives use, the framers of the Constitution, blah blah blah. We're all framers. When we address each other, when we speak about anything, it's all about framing. Okay, I frame to expose the frame is what I'm calling myself right now. That's one of my jobs. Not just the commentary. Oh, I'm going to do commentary, but I'm also going to expose the frame. And a lot of times I'm just looking for, gut reaction. Don't overthink it. But, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Derek C. Williams says, now no one seems to want to speak out. YouTube isn't censoring. Why are people still quiet? Derek C. Williams. I don't know. I don't know. He says, Children's Health Defense interviewed me 2 years ago. I remember that. Have you uploaded it? You should. If you want, you can pass it over to me, and I'll push it out too. I remember these videos. You had so much content back then, and you still have it. It's still good content. So yeah, I'm around. And Derek C. Williams says, I said, yes, they are killing people in these hospitals. They are experimenting on people. Yeah, well, I've been seeing, I don't know if it's complete theater that I'm seeing online. Is it the Congress that's arguing about the vaccine? I'm not sure who it was that I saw last, but it's going on. It's a conversation. I know the Canadians are talking about it. And they were talking about it first. Some of these other sources, but Freedom Smart says, I stopped using the damn code. I know. Well, I have to get used to it, because I really, honestly, in everyday conversation, it was code word, or softball, just to you couldn't even really talk to people for a long time. Depending on where you were, you could, but you couldn't, so, but I appreciate you guys. And, I'm going to come back with that, with the sound the alarm and the fusion and the simpatico copycat narrative. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Derek C. Williams says we seem to talk all day about Cardi B, but no rap on as it relates to stuff that matters. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't do that kind of content. Hey, maybe at another time I would have been, no. But I appreciate you guys. So hang in there, and I will see you guys later. If you guys have anything you want to share with me, you can send it to me. blackspringwithautumn@gmail.com is still good. Yeah, send it to me. I'm also trying to figure out if I'm going to do, shout out to Joseph Francis Burton. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do Patreon. I was on Patreon for a long time. But, we'll see. There's a lot. They've got more guardrails right now. And I'm just, we'll see. We'll see, guys. All right. So I will see you guys. Hang on a second. Derek Williams, he says, sometimes I wonder why I tend to think about serious stuff more than football. Hey, only you can prevent brain rot. That's the shirt that I've got to make. I remember, what is it? The one from the 80s, what was it, with the forest fires? Only you can prevent forest fires. I would say to people with children, hey, only you can prevent brain rot. It's not, hey, it's not going to happen in the public. It won't. It's not even a public responsibility. All right, guys. I will see you later is the plan. Okay. Bye for now.